Hello, welcome back here into Caden's Weather Center. In today's video, we're going to continue to pay attention now to Invest 92L that has been designated this morning as of the recording of this video here by the National Hurricane Center. That is expected to turn out to sea, but we'll go over the latest here with the models here very shortly. We're also going to continue to pay attention right now here to a rainfall potential threat and this possibility for some severe weather threat continuing on over here on the east coast of Virginia as well as North Carolina, possibly bringing some heavy rainfall at times due to a low pressure system sitting off the east coast of the United States, as well as seeing some snow on the mountains this morning here in parts of Wyoming. So welcome into the video. Right now, today is September 15th, 2025. We're going to continue to pay attention here to what are we currently looking at? What are we currently looking at around the United States? Well, we can obviously say, I will say, last night we had a couple tornadoes that actually did touch down here in North Dakota and South Dakota yesterday. This morning, we have some snowfall kind of continuing on over here over the mountains in Wyoming. And then we really have to pay attention to this low pressure system that's kind of sitting off the east coast here of the United States, as that is going to bring in some rainfall here potential over here into parts of southeastern Virginia as well as eastern North Carolina. So it's going to be a pretty rainy day here for maybe the next 2 days. If you do live in North Carolina and Virginia. So definitely is going to kind of cut off half of the state here. Eventually it won't be too big of a threat here for this general region, but it will be kind of more for the eastern parts of these states here, and maybe even parts of Delaware and Maryland here later on in the future. Now, other than that, not too much going on. We do have some scattered showers, thunderstorms continuing through central and eastern Iowa this morning, but and as well as Mississippi. But other than that, not looking too significant right now for any of that severe weather threat. Taking a look at the marginal risk for severe weather threat today, we're seeing, the northern part of Minnesota, you guys could be expecting some marginal severe weather risk, as well as parts of Wyoming here going into South Dakota and even the most southeastern part here of Montana. And then obviously that one severe weather risk that we're going to be looking at here for the East Coast. That really just includes, the southeastern part of Virginia and parts of majority of the marginal risk is going to be for the Outer Banks there of North Carolina there. As we start to see some of that low pressure, it's kind of make its way in, and that's going to bring some possibility for some severe weather. The tornado threat, there is no tornado threat for any of these severe weather threats that's continuing on in this general area. The only tornado threat that we have, which is a 2% chance, so very slight, but still can't rule out maybe a water spout or a tornado there, is going to be parts of the North Carolina and Virginia region right there. We're going to continue to pay attention to that. Now, the wind threat will be on the other two systems here. The other two severe weather risk zones right there, as well as that hail risk is going to be just on that northern severe weather risk zone there in parts of northern Minnesota. So we're going to continue to kind of pay attention to that. Now let's take a look at the future radar. What are we currently looking at? What are we expecting? Well, we can clearly see over here for the next couple of hours, we're going to see a lot of that rainfall kind of staying more offshore here. The heaviest amount of rainfall is going to be staying offshore, but you can definitely see we're going to be seeing that low pressure system kind of eventually making its way, and that's going to bring a little bit more of that rainfall kind of really start to ramp up as we head into this evening here. According to this radar, future radar does come more scattered, but we definitely are expecting some more rainfall definitely to really start to ramp up as we head into tomorrow, as well as we're going to start seeing that low pressure system kind of making its leftward turn, and that's going to bring lots of heavy rainfall here into parts of eastern Virginia as well as North Carolina. So we're going to continue to pay attention to that. This morning we're starting to see some snowfall over here over the mountains, the Yellowstone Mountains right there that we could see. Then we also see some of that severe weather risk kind of continuing on, not anything major, kind of just rainfall and some scattered showers, thunderstorms. This will eventually make its way off to the east, as well as this rainfall, and that will be putting a possibility for that severe weather threat to kind of continue on later this evening. The snow expected to go away here in the next couple of hours. That's what we're going to be expecting. Maybe some slight snow showers there later on tonight here, as we can see in parts of southern Montana, but really our main severe weather risk right here is going to be in that general region, and that will eventually make its way off kind of to the northeast here. So something to pay attention to as well with that. Let's take a look at the tropics. Invest 92L now has been designated here since from the National Hurricane Center this morning of the recording of this video. What are we currently looking at? Well, we can obviously see right now convection kind of starting to die down here over the last couple of imagery from the satellite here. We could definitely see convection still continuing on the western side here of the storm. The center, there isn't too much of a center, but definitely just kind of now has a circular which is going to be kind of sitting right in this general area. That's the reason why we have Invest 92L now. We're going to be having models starting to come out on that here. As of the 8 a.m. advisory here from the National Hurricane Center, now an 80% chance here of formation over here in the next 7 days, while a 40% chance is expected over here for the next 2 days, and expected to kind of make that more northwestward jog here over the next couple of days. But we'll be heading into a more favorable environment here as we head into the next 2 to 3 days out. We could be seeing a possible tropical depression, and is likely to form by later part of this week heading into this weekend. But let's take a look at the GFS ensembles. This is something that gives us, you know, a bunch of kind of general areas and where we could be seeing the possibility here of something. So we definitely like looking at this. So we can definitely see a low pressure system right there. We do see another tropical wave that does come off Africa, a little bit more of a westward and southern motion right there. But taking a look at those ensembles, we're expecting this, the GFS ensembles majority, I mean mostly all of them, do bring it up to the north here, and then we'll eventually get kind of pushed off to the west. So that could be something to kind of pay attention to if you live in the Leeward Islands here in Puerto Rico. We could be paying attention to that very, very closely. And then we kind of see a little bit of a split here as we head into around September 21st. We're seeing some models kind of stay more off to the south, while the others kind of pull it up to the north here. So that's kind of something to pay attention to. But then we see eventually majority of these models do bringing it obviously out to sea right here. We're kind of seeing that go out to sea, but some bring it a little bit more farther off to the west, which could possibly bring Bermuda into play. So it's something to pay attention to there. Also with the GFS ensembles, with that next tropical wave, not a lot of development there, but does bring it off down to the south and brings it more westward. And also paying attention to something over here in the Gulf that could get pulled to the north here. Nothing marked by the National Hurricane Center, but we've been talking about that one for a little while now. So taking a look here at the Euro ensembles now, a little bit of a different scenario. Does, get pulled up to the north here. But once it gets pulled up to the north, more of a northwestward jog instead of just that westward motion. So the European does bring it a little bit more off to the north there, and does kind of slow down a little bit slightly. And then we do see, once again, that split. And this one's a little bit more split, where we're seeing where we see majority of the models still bringing it out to sea, of course, but then we have some models that do bring it a little bit closer over here to the Bahamas. And you take a look at that heading 15 days out, we could obviously see that that could bring potential threats here to Bermuda, and definitely some high surf if that will be correct. If these more westward models, right now those are the outliers, of course, but our main region that we have these spaghetti models here in the ensembles are going to be staying out to sea and relatively maybe close to Bermuda if it goes more on the westward track of that. But other than that, it's kind of just going to stay out to sea, and not really big impacts will be expected here for the islands. Now let's take a look at the GFS model run. What are we taking a look? So there's our tropical system. Does have that low pressure system this morning according to the GFS right there. Is going to get pulled up to the north. Very relatively weak storm. Then we'll really start to head into some more favorable environment, and really could possibly rapidly intensify, that we could clearly see getting up to maybe 949 millibars there, and then really start to weaken as it gets pulled off to the north. But you can definitely see, expected to kind of make that northern jog kind of just make its way. So a little bit of a zigzag there, kind of out in the Atlantic, but something to pay attention to with the GFS. But once again, that gets pulled off to the northeast very quickly here as we go later on in this thing, in this model run. Taking a look at the GFS though, with later on in the future, well, we could kind of see a low pressure kind of sitting off the coast of Florida. Obviously that got pulled up, but we're not going to be too worried about that right now. Our main focus is just going to be what's happening out here in the MDR, as it's expected to go out to sea. So still some good news there, as it's expected to go out to sea. European model definitely brings it more relatively weak and doesn't rapidly intensify as much as the GFS, but does actually bring a pretty strong hurricane a little bit farther out than what the GFS is saying, but 942 millibars as it continues to move off to the northeast there. So we're going to continue to pay attention to that. We could be expecting a possible hurricane. And then also with the European model, even though it doesn't go as far out as the GFS, isn't really hinting at anything possibly forming down here in the Western Caribbean or even the South Central Gulf. I want to talk about this really quick. The Weather Prediction Center here for snowfall. What are we looking at right there? Well, we can see the possibility of some scattered, snow showers, mostly up on the higher elevations there. We're going to be seeing some snow showers continuing on right in that general region here of parts of Colorado on the mountains, as well as parts of Wyoming and even into Montana. Not too much to pay attention to with that. Taking a look at the temperatures for today, we can see those cooler temperatures are expected to continue on over here where the mountain region is going to be. The temperatures have really warmed up over here in the south and south central part here of the United States. As we head into tomorrow, we're going to be expecting maybe a little bit cooler temperatures over here on the eastern coast. That's going to bring us into in the mid 60s to the upper 60s here for parts of Virginia as well as North Carolina. And obviously cooler temperatures continuing on over here in the northwestern part of the United States. And we're going to see that cold front kind of come down, but won't be a too strong of a cold front there. Low temperatures, we can obviously see very cold temperatures continuing on over here in the western part of the United States. Now starting to feel some of those cooler temperatures down here in the south, so that has something that we've been waiting for. Definitely a cold blast of air expected here as we head into later this week. Down over here into the northeast, possibly up in Maine, we could be seeing 32 degrees there. But really, we're going to see that cold front kind of bringing in some more cooler temperatures with those low temperatures right there. But really, our main focus is going to be kind of just watching the heat that will kind of continue on the southern part here, no matter what. Even with that cold front coming down, it's not going to be strong enough to kind of change those high temperatures too much, especially if you live in the south. But taking a look right now here at the satellite to end off the video, we can see there's that spin right off the east coast there of North Carolina. That's eventually once again is going to bring in a lot of rain and moisture into the North Carolina and Virginia region. We're definitely seeing a lot of convection continuing to blow up this morning due to all that rainfall and thunderstorms, as well as those thunderstorms that are kind of continuing on over here in the central part of the United States. So not too much going on around the United States at this time, but definitely make sure you're following your local National Weather Service as well as the National Hurricane Center with hurricane season here. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video, but also make sure that if you do have any questions about any weather that is continuing on, make sure to leave it down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer you guys. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe and bye-bye.